All right, welcome back. My name is Dave, and this is the Radical Independent. Thanks for being here. Our favorite guest is back. His name is James Roguski. James, how are you, sir?
Oh, Dave, you just hurt Scott Ritter's feelings. I know I'm number two in your heart. No,
Well,
you and Scott do some spectacular work. And actually, this wasn't what I was going to talk about, but since you mentioned it, Scott Ritter's going to be part of an event that's happening Friday and Saturday.
yep.
And so, yeah, no, I'm happy being number two. I try harder.
You're number two. No, no,
thanks,
that's not good.
thanks for having me. No,
You're welcome, sir.
I'm a fact and evidence-based guy, and so you and Scott have done some spectacular work. So kudos.
I just step aside. Even though I get crap, it's like, who's this guy who keeps talking? See, and I'm doing it right now. So I'm just going to let James give us the information. He's got important information for us, and I need to get out of the way. So James, take it away.
You've heard the saying, shift happens, right? So deal with it. Okay. Well,
you talking about Adam Schiff?
No, not at all.
Right.
Shift has happened. I really
shift.
Believe.
Okay.
Shift has happened. And so it's springtime, and there's cosmic change afoot. And I'm still on the defensive against the things that the WHO has been doing and continue to do. And none of that has changed. But one of the things I realized about the WHO is that they are trying, and they have a very skillfully crafted, devious plan to institute a global digital health certificate. We talked about that last time. People can go to rejectdigitalenslavement.com, learn all about that. But what I had been looking for months, finally started to find some, are state legislation to essentially say, thou shalt not discriminate against people based on their vaccination or immune status. And found some things, and of all places, Dave, it's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So get out your protest signs, and crank up your printer to pass out some flyers, or crank up your email or whatever. What I want to talk about is what's going on in Florida, that at this point in time, probably next to nobody is aware, but there's legislation in committee in Florida, in a number of committees, that oh man, it's a good feeling finally to be able to say, that's what we want, as opposed to no, stop that, no, don't do that. We want this, right? And it's really simple. There's anti-discrimination laws. You can't discriminate based on age, gender, race, religion, disability status, and various states may have other things that you really shouldn't discriminate against people for any reason. Okay, but there's legislation in Florida that would add to the things that legally have teeth, that prevent discrimination against people who are or are not injected in some way, call those things whatever you want to call them, or are immune or not immune to this, that, or the other ailment. And so let me dive in. I'll share my screen, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree with the first thing that you see here. Tell me if you're on board.
Yeah. When there is forced medicine, there is no liberty. Yeah, amen. Could be a t-shirt.
I think it is. And so in addition to reject digital enslavement, which goes even further, we're talking about the Chinese social credit system and central bank digital currency. Those battles are still going on. What I came across was legislation in, you recognize that flag?
Yeah, it's our state flag. I see it every so often.
Okay. So, I know how people are. So I took a 25-page piece of legislation, and I summarized it into a one-pager. And hopefully this one-pager is big enough that y'all can read it. The name of the legislation is an act relating to protection of medical freedom. Senator Joe Gruters and Representative Webster Barnaby have introduced identical bills, same name, Senate Bill 222 and House Bill 305 in the Florida legislature. Okay. I think this is a must. We, the people, have to put our support behind what these people are doing and say, look, yes, we want that. Okay. Got to keep saying, stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing the other thing. But this is legislation to do exactly that. Now, just in the essence of time, okay, everything here, no government entity or person may infringe on the fundamental rights of any man or woman to make their own healthcare decisions and to be free to accept or refuse any health or medical intervention, testing, treatment, or vaccine by requiring anyone to vaccinate or disclose their vaccination status or produce an immunity passport or results of a health test. Okay. Now that's not language from the law. That's just the general idea. It's an unlawful discriminatory practice for a person or governmental entity to refuse, withhold from, or deny to any man or woman any local or state services, goods, facilities, advantages, privileges, access, transportation, or freedom of movement, educational opportunities, healthcare access based on the individual's vaccination status or immunity status. And it's unlawful discriminatory practice for a person or governmental entity to refuse to hire or employ any man or woman, bar or discharge any man or woman from employment, impose a surcharge or pay out, discriminate against any man or woman in compensation or in a term, condition, or privileges of employment based on their vaccination status or immunity status. Now, if somebody has trouble with those ideas, they're pro-discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it
Yes.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, maybe this is boring to people, but you got to know the facts. And these are excerpts from Senate Bill 2022. I'm sorry, 222. Quotes from, and it has various page numbers. You know me, Dave, I deal with fact and evidence, right?
Yes.
This is what is being proposed in this legislation. No immunization registry. Okay, the Department of Health may not require enrollment in the immunization registry or otherwise require people to submit to any form of immunization tracking. Sound okay?
Yeah.
If a parent or guardian has refused to have his or her child included in the immunization registry, any records or identifying information pertaining to the child must be removed from the registry.
Good, good.
Okay. If a college or university student from 18 to 23 years old has refused to be included in the immunization registry, any records or identifying information pertaining to the student must be removed from the registry.
Sounds like the right to
Got any
privacy.
problem?
Yeah.
The Department of Health may not include a person's immunization records in any interstate or federal immunization tracking system, or
Nice.
otherwise allow an entity not required by law to have such records without first obtaining written informed consent from the person or the person's parent or guardian, if the person is a minor, to release the immunization records for such purpose.
Excellent.
Can't have records of it. So if you can't have records of it, it's going to be awfully hard to use to infringe upon somebody's rights, right?
Mhm.
Now, very clearly, in the second column, a business entity may not require patrons or customers to provide any documentation certifying vaccination or post-infection recovery from any disease to gain access to, entry upon, or service from the business operations in this state, meaning Florida, right? If you're a business, you can't discriminate against people based on the choices that they make regarding their health. Government can't discriminate either. A governmental entity may not require persons to provide any documentation certifying vaccination or post-infection recovery from any disease, gain access to, entry upon, or service from the governmental entity's operations.
Yeah.
Government can't do this to you.
Preventing blackmail.
And
there, it's a good idea.
a little redundant, employers may not discriminate. Right? It is an unlawful employment practice for an employer to refuse to employ an individual or to discharge, discipline, demote, or otherwise discriminate against an employee with respect to wages or terms, conditions, or privileges of employment based on the individual's vaccination or immune status. And over on the right, vaccination or immune status with respect to an individual means whether he or she has been administered a vaccination, looks like I got a typo there, or is otherwise immune to a particular disease. Okay. Do you go up to people and go, hey, do you have syphilis or gonorrhea or chlamydia or, AIDS or, are you HIV? You're not allowed to do that in today's society. That's not acceptable. Hey, do you have cancer? Do you have hepatitis? Are you suffering from, myocarditis? Maybe it's catchy, right? So in this third column, I won't bore everybody by reading all of it. You kind of are going to get the idea. Healthcare providers, insurers, all kinds of different insurance, health insurance, and all that sort of thing, may not discriminate. Okay. If you want to know more, give me a phone call. Right. I don't care if you're in Florida or not. I don't care if you're in Timbuktu. Okay. We're going to be making phone calls. We're going to be sending emails. We're going to be spreading the word all around the world, because it's not just about Florida. It's about cloning this. Oh, wait a minute. We're not going to use anything genetic there, right? It's about copying these ideas wherever the hell you are and pushing this out. Okay. Maybe Florida, and the senator and congressperson are leading the way. All right. But this is what we need everywhere. Right. So you can get this information at demandhealthfreedom.com. You can give me a phone call. You can download the Florida flyer and pass it all out. This is called an act relating to protection of medical freedom. Senator Joe Gruters introduced it. Also, Representative Webster Barnaby introduced it into the House. So there's identical bills in both houses of the Florida legislature, both held by Republicans. So if this doesn't pass, you know who to blame.
Yeah.
Right. And if it passes, there's somebody that you're probably familiar with who really needs to sign it. Right. But why aren't they speaking out about it now? Is what my point is. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. And so I'm gonna do a big scroll here. Trying to make it easy for people. I don't care where you live. Oh, that's Florida, right? That doesn't affect me. Yes, it does, because if this absolutely has to pass in Florida. This has to pass.
Yeah, I agree.
And could it be better? Sure, maybe, right? Everybody's going to little nitpick this, that, and the other thing. If you can write a better bill, then write it and get it submitted. But at the moment, stopping the discrimination based on people's health choices. Finally, there's something to fight for. I've been pushing back against the WHO, still doing that because they're still crazy, right?
Yeah.
But this is positive. Also have the same idea going on in Texas. We won't go there because you're in Florida. Here in Florida, if you go to Florida, very specifically, hopefully I'll have one of these for every state in the union. If you go to florida.demandhealthfreedom.com, it'll take you right here, right? We just looked at that flyer, these same people. Okay. This might be the thing we're looking for.
Yeah, you might want to call, if you're in Florida, you might want to call one of these representatives and tell them that you support what they're doing too.
Okay, so everybody wants it to be a meme. All right, well, here's the image. Dress it up and make it pretty if you want. These companion bills could make it illegal to discriminate against people based on their vaccine or immune status. Currently, there is legislation in a handful of states that does that for COVID-19 to a certain degree. You can have a mandate, okay? But as we just read through, this goes far beyond. You can't discriminate against anybody for, any of that sort of thing. Businesses, government entities, educational institutions, healthcare providers, employers, real estate or rental, brokerage services, life, disability, health providers. None of those people can abuse others and discriminate against others based on whatever their decisions were that they wanted to do to their body. Now, you can go into all of the details, right? I'm just going to give a big scroll, hope people don't get dizzy. This is just a bigger text version of what we all just read. Okay, so copy the text or whatever. But if you go down further, take action.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to make it easy for people. here's the directory of everybody in the Florida Senate. Okay. Senator Gruters, don't call him up and nag him to support the bill. They submitted it. I had a beautiful phone call with their office. I called them up. I go, hey, I'm from California. I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh, what? Hey, you, Senator Gruder sponsored Senate Bill 222, and I'm going to do everything I can to help support you. How can I help you? What do you want me to do? What can I do for you? Okay. Same thing to Senator Keith Perry. He co-sponsored it. Okay. Call him up and have an enjoyable phone call. Finally, there's somebody that, has done something that, you can support. Boy, you're going to make somebody's day when you call them up and you go, hey, you guys are doing great work. Thank you very much. Okay. Tell me what I can do to help you.
Yeah.
Right. It's currently in the Judiciary, Health Policy, and Rules Committee. So 3 different committees. And so you can click on any of these links and it'll take you to the committee members who are holding this thing up. Get a move along, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm sure they're busy doing all kinds of good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So trying to make it easy here. You can download this directory and you can also take all of these. Now there's 40 people in the Florida Senate. So you can go like this and you can copy all these emails and you can tell them whatever you want.
Right.
Okay. Real easy. Cut and paste. Say thanks, to Gruters and so forth. But reach out to each and every one of your senators and go, hey, Senate Bill 222, let's get this thing moving.
Right.
What are you waiting for? Okay. There's a few more members in the House. There's a document that you can download. Call up Representative Barnaby and say, hey, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're doing. How can I help? Now, these folks, 5 of them, have co-sponsored it. So you can see I'm highlighting them, cut and paste their emails and send them an email and go, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. I don't see my
Appreciate
state
it.
rep on there, so I'm going to have to send her a message. So yeah.
There you go. Hey, let's get on it. Okay.
Right.
This is in these 4 House committees. Okay. And I'm trying to make it easy for you people. Go nag on, Dave, I think we had this conversation, about our significant others. Nagging works, people. It really does work.
Yeah.
Okay. So call them up and go, hey,
Yeah.
this is what I want. Right. So on the Civil Justice Subcommittee, because it's about discrimination, all these people now, on some of these, you'll see that there's an asterisk. Okay. That means that person is on 2 of the 4 committees.
Oh.
So, just realize that you don't have to call them for each committee. You can say, hey, you're on this committee, you're on that committee. I know you're looking at this bill. It's going to move along. Now in the House, it's House Bill 305. Okay. 222 in the Senate, 305 in the House. They're identical bills. So, a lot of times it'll just be sitting in one of the 2 houses. Okay. And so same thing here. I'll caution you with a lot of mail servers. You can't do unlimited numbers of emails, but if you take a chunk, maybe half of these, right? There's 120 people. So if you do one email with 60 and another email with 60, send them a message. Okay. And so, here's my attitude right now. I'm tired of people going, oh, there's nothing you can do. The globalists are going to win, lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to hear that this cannot be done. Don't interrupt us because we're doing it. And I'm in California. Okay. I need to find somebody in the California Assembly, to take this and craft it so that it fits California law, right? Not an easy task, right? But at least somebody in Florida is on the right page, headed in the right direction. And I'm excited, not to say that this is going to be easy, but my goodness, if we can't do this in Florida, that is controlled by the Republican Party, this should just be breezing right through.
Right.
And these were submitted to the legislature at the pretty much at the beginning of the year. Probably first you heard of it. I heard about it on Thursday or Friday last week. And so let's get a move along, people.
Yeah,
Time
they
to
don't
do
they
something
don't
positive.
report this in the news down here in Florida. When something good is happening, they don't tell anybody about it. So
Right. And so I'm still pushing back on the WHO. They want to do, the WHO is trying to do what this bill is saying. No, 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 not here. Not going to do that here. Okay, you're not going to set up a system that would discriminate against people, not allow them to live their lives based on what they decide to do with their body. So go to rejectdigitalenslavement.com to push back on the WHO, and go to Demand Health Freedom to learn more about this.
all right. And there you have it, James Roguski. Any other comments, James, before we get out of here?
You can go directly to Florida.Demand Health Freedom. You do the same thing in Texas, Texas.Demand Health Freedom. If you're in one of the 48 other states or in some other country anywhere, I want to have, Germany.Demand Health Freedom and Australia.Demand Health Freedom.
Right.
We got a lot of work to do, but it's a springtime. New ideas, spring forward. I think it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because now is the time for us to come together and go on the offensive and demand the health freedom that we want. So
All right.
I do it all the time. My phone
Phone
number
number.
310-619-3055. I'm number 2, so I try harder.
All right. Great information as always, James Roguski. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you, David.